Hi, my name is Alessandro Angelosi and that's a video tutorial coming from cgcookie.com for Max Cookie. This time we start to talk about a new series, and I mean we work on a series that starts from a suggestion from a user that asked to see a tutorial to simulate something similar to the Volcano death scene in the Star Trek movie. So we'll do not the same scene, but we'll do something similar to have something original and to see also more effects on the animation. So we'll see not just the simple effects as in the movie, but we'll have something done using more software on the final scene. So we have to work on the first part, and the first part will be useful to create the planet and the entire environment, and we'll try also to have the basic animation and to have the basic look for the scene. On the part 2 we'll start to destroy the planet, and we hope to have maybe not so much part, maybe 2 or 3, to have the final scene with the compositing. So let's start working on the basic setup, and we have to be sure that we are working on the unit setup in meters. Obviously we are not creating the scene in real scale, but we are working on a lower scale. So we are creating the planet, and the planet will be maybe let's think about maybe 50 meters, just to have a medium scale to have the right amount of detail. Let's use more segments. Let's think about maybe for the moment 80, and we'll have to create a planet, and this planet will be not the sun, the Earth, and it will be not the Mars or Venice. So we'll create something using the various solar system planet maps, something really different, just to have something interesting on the monitor. So that's our main mesh there. Let's go there. Let's set the resolution just to have the basic thing about the rendering preview. Okay, and let's close, and we'll use mental ray for the rendering or the scanline, but we can go for mental ray, and then the other effects can be rendered using Krakatoa and film effects using the scanline. So let's remove the final gather, and let's save the scene just to have the first step. So Dropbox in the right folder, and we have there this one. We can rename it, and we call it FX because that's an FX series, and we copy this name, sorry, there, and we have it. Okay, so let's start thinking about what we are doing, and I like to have something like this planet, and maybe we can imagine to have another planet or something like a planet that will launch a ray over this planet, something like laser, and with this power ray it will destroy the planet. So we like to have a bigger point of view, something like that, and later we can fix it with a camera, and we'll have something coming from there. Let's imagine that we have another planet, but it can be maybe something not natural, something like an alien planet or something like that. It will be more little, and we move in this way. And we have this one more little. Okay, so we have this ray coming there, hitting the ground there, and creating the effects, the dot effects. Okay, so let's create a camera from this point of view, just to have a basic camera, and later we can work on the camera animation. So let's work on the planet, and we need also the lighting, and that's mean that we like to have something like lighting coming from there. So let's start playing with a standard light. And we move it there. Okay, so then let's start working on the planet look. First of all, if we try to render actually the scene, obviously we have something really simple, as this one. So we start to play with the texture, and then we see if the lighting is right or not. So let's name it planet base, and we can assign it. We'll use a standard shader, and we'll tune the other parameters there. So let's start working on the planet texture, and we can use a composite because we'll use more texture. The first one can be something similar to the Earth. So we'll have a basic. I'm using a texture downloaded directly from the NASA website, and you know we checked the website when we work on the realistic planet tutorial, so you can check it and pick the same maps. And I'm using a different maps. You can see there we have the planet, we have the light for the night, and we have the clouds, and then I have the moon, and I have the Venice map. So let's start with the Earth. So that's our map. Let's remove the realistic, and we go in shaded. So this will be our map, and let's remove the blurring. So when we render, we have something like that at the moment. Let's pick the light, and the light will be we'll have an higher multiplier. Okay, let's work a little bit there. So we say that we have another map, and that means the Earth lights for the night lighting. And this one will be visible just where we have the shadows. So there, as the mask, we have to use a fall off, and the fall off will be shadow light. So we'll have the two map, but we have to use this one where we have the light, and this one where we have the shadows. Let's check it. We should have it, but I need to see the map. So we can do something like using this one as self-illumination, so we can see also the other side. Okay, you see that there we have the one from the night. So let's remove the self-illumination. Let's go there, and let's say that this one is set to, because I like to have more illumination. Let's remove also the mapping there. Okay, let's check again. Okay, so we see just this one. Then we can start to add some mapping there to illuminate, and we can use the reflection, and we can use the fall off. And in this case we can use something similar to the blue, but I don't like to do something like the earth. I like to make something a little bit stranger. Okay, and we can control this mask. So this fall off will be masked, keep all map, and the map will be again fall off, and the fall off will be shadow of light. So where we have the light, we have the fall off, and where we have the shadow, we have just a little bit of fall off. Let's check. Okay, you see that we have more blue there and less there. Perfect. Let's close and say okay. Perfect. Let's go back to work on the diffuse. Okay, add another map. Let's go there for bitmap, and let's try to use the Venus map. So I like to give a strange coloring. Let's see if we have just the Venus map, what kind of effects. You see that we have this kind of effects there, and it seems interesting. So let's see what we can do with this one. In this way we have an average, so we have part of this map and part of the other map, and it is not bad, but I like to do something different. So I'm just playing with this texture. Let's see, first of all, in this way we'll have the ground there. Okay, and let's see if we have another layer, and again this map, and we'll have the average as before, something like that. So we'll have a mixture, you see, of a planet and something over, but I like to see more this map. So let's add another layer, and we can copy this one, paste it there, and this one can be used as linear burn, and we can use a color correction over keep all map. So we'll change this map, and we'll use a saturation to remove the colors, and we'll use more contrast and a little bit of brightness, and again contrast. So let's see the effects. I'm just playing with the colors there. So let's check if now we change the colors there, and we set to something like that. I think we see not so much the map or the over ground, so I like just to maybe it's better to you can have this darker area there. Okay, and let's see what happens if we have a displaced map. And to have the displaced map, we can use the map coming from the moon, and then we'll add something done by us. So this one, let's say 0.5 just to start, and save. Let's use a low value, and let's see what happens. Okay, you see that we are starting to see something. Let's go there and let's say maybe -10. Okay, so you see something over the ground there. And let's go on the map, let's say 0.01, so we'll have more detail. And inside the displacement there in the rendering, we can tune it, and we can say that we have edge length set to 1, and we'll have more subdivision. And let's see how the rendering will be. Okay, you see that we have more detail than before, but maybe it's again a good way to have it with a plus value, so we'll have more detail on the ground. So let's go back there and say to the material that we have 10, maybe 15. Okay, you see that we have something there. I'd like to rotate the map just to have something different. Let's try with 6 and -22. Okay, so we have more areas there. And then I like we can check the rendering and see what we have. Okay, you see that we have more detail, but I like to add also a map coming from us. So let's close there, and we can use a composite, and the map can be a procedural. So yes, keep all map, and the layer can be, we can start playing with a cellular map, and we go for a cheap, and let's say 50 for the moment. So now we make a test render, and if it is okay, we can start playing with this map. So let's make a test render. Obviously now we are using just this map and nothing else. It is too little for the moment, so we need a bigger map. So let's scale it, and let's imagine to have, for example, let's think about 300, a really big map, but it will give us the possibility to understand what we have to do. So let's see what happens with a really big scale there. You see that we have this kind of look for the map, and we can go there and start playing with a fractal, and let's see to have more playing. Let's see with 6. You see that we have more detail, and we can see the spread, we can have it lower, and check again the rendering, and then we can mask it to have a more not regular rendering. Okay, you see that's what we are seeing now, and I like to have an higher level of displacement. So let's go there, and let's say that we have 40. Let's see what happened. Okay, let's check inside the rendering value if we have to fix displacement. Okay, we have half meters. Let's say that we can have 15 meters of displacement, because actually we have the sphere that is 50 meters, so we need more detail. Okay, you see that it is working on this level of really complex stuffs. Okay, it is too much actually, obviously, so let's stop. Then we can go to have a lower value. Let's go back to 10 and see again what we have. Okay, you see that the level now is lower. Now we can have a mask to mask this kind of rock and have a bigger scale. So let's imagine to have there this one set to maybe 600. Let's see if we can have more detail, and let's check the result so we can be sure that we can mask it and mix this result with a previous map. It is preparing the mesh. Okay, you see that now it seems a little bit better. Okay, back there, and let's mask it and mix with the previous one, and we can use, let's see, maybe a noise, and we have to scale it for sure. Let's imagine maybe 500, and let's use a turbulence, and let's use 5, and we need to have areas where we have the map and areas where we don't have the map. Okay, and we have to make a test, but to make a test I like also to have a faster rendering, so let's try in this way. Let's try to have less area with this map. bigger. Okay, I'd like to see the result with this without this map, just to be sure that we are doing the right thing. Okay, that's our basic map. And I like to see, let's add a new layer, and I like to have this map just to see where we are putting this map to control the masking. But I need this one set as a bit diffuse, and we can apply this one. So let's say also that we have a self-illumination. Okay, so you see that we have the map all over. So let's use something like that. I like to have just some area. And let's go for 8 more detail, and let's say 3000, because I like to have bigger area. Okay, so we have area without it and area with it. Let's try to have, okay, more little area. Okay, something like that. So let's copy this one, and we can put it back there, and let's say that is 50% visible, and we have to reassign the material and render, and we should see both textures. Let's go for 75, and let's go to F20. It's a little bit higher, but we can have the possibility to see if we have enough displacement. Okay, we have it. Let's go back there. Let's go back to have an atmosphere there. And during this test, let's remove the displacement. Okay, and I'd like to change a little bit there the fractional map to make it more visible. So you see we have more atmosphere, and let's select the light, and let's go to have more lighting. Okay. Okay, you see, we see more planet and a little bit there of atmosphere. and the planet there, we'll have an entire color correction. So we'll have a little bit of variation there and a little bit more contrast, so it is more visible. Okay, let's start moving a little bit the light. Okay, so there is enough illumination, and what do we have to see? We have a little bit of self-illumination on the back area, and we say that we have maybe 15%, and this one is a little bit as its color, and we say that the map there will change more drastically. And let's see the result. Okay, you see that we have a little bit of lighting there, and we have more lighting there with the sun, and we have some strange earth like there terrain. Okay, we don't need the bump. Let's save. We can add more, a little bit of cloud. So there on the map we can add, let's work first of all there inside the color correction map, and then we see if it's okay or not. Okay, add bitmap, and let's use the cloud map. Okay, let's remove so we need to change there. Let's see if we have the average. Okay, you see we are putting the cloud map over it, and let's see what happened with this cloud, and then we'll see if we have to change it. Okay, it's not bad, I have to say. Maybe we can change a little bit the color, so we can use a color correction there. Discard keep hold, and we can try to have a little bit of color, something like yellow, and let's see. Okay, I'm thinking about that maybe later we have to separate this layer, but we have to check it later. It's not important now. And yes, we have to separate because we need to work on the displacement, and then we have to add also more effects. So let's save, and let's make a copy, edit, clone, copy, and this one will be a little bit bigger, and we have to remove this map from there. Okay, and we can copy it, and let's call this shader cloud layer, and we can assign it, and then paste. Okay, this object is the clouds, and this one is the planet. This one must use the opacity map too. And let's see what we have now inside the rendering. It will be maybe a little bit different than before. You see, we have to play a little bit with it. Okay, we have to scale a little bit this material and these objects, I mean. Let's try with 50.1, and just an area of the rendering we can check, but we have also to remember that we have to put the displacement over, so maybe we have to scale it. In this way it can be okay. So let's play a little bit with the displacement there. Let's try to have something not so visible, because you see we have a really nice quality, and we have to go back to 1 and 64 and save, and let's see the entire planet. And render. It takes a little bit to prepare the mesh. Okay, you see that we are starting to see the maps. Maybe we have to, first of all, we need to lower. Okay, we have to change a little bit the map there inside the displacement. So this one goes away. This one can be maybe set to 0.5, and this one can be maybe 40 to have a little bit lower value. And let's render again. I'd like to recheck the map to understand if we have something that is not going in the right way, because we are using this mixture of texture. So let's see just the moon map. Okay, that's the moon map, so it is really detailed. Okay, so let's go there and let's say that we have 2. We should have less detail all over the planet. We have still a lot of detail. I have to check what's going on. That's the map. And I mean, let's see if we have 10, so we have no detail. Okay, let's remove there. And let's see just this map, so we can decide how to use it. Okay, you see we have a little bit of detail over there, and we can maybe have this one not completely black, and let's see what happens if we have this map all over the planet and then we add the other one. Okay, we see something all around there. Now we can add or multiply the second one. So let's think about to have an inverse map there. Okay, let's see the amount of displacement now, and maybe we have to tune the general displacement value. Okay, you see that it is a little bit too much. So I like to have a little bit of lower value, but maybe when we multiply this one, or maybe we can use an average, or let's see, the multiply, the darken. We have to check it because we can use the screen, and let's try to have just 5, and let's see what happens, because obviously using the scale we can have more or less detail, and the planet can seem bigger or just a little teeny rock. So let's wait for new rendering. That now the map is more little, but I like to have it maybe just a little bit less displacement. Let's try with 3. So a really low amount. Okay, I think it can be enough. Okay, let's save and then back. We have everything. We can check again the rendering. That's with the cloud, but the cloud now must be a little bit bigger. Let's think about, for example, 0.2, and we have to render, and then we have to tune more stuffs on the environment. We have still problems to see the cloud. Let's go for 5. And when the cloud layer is okay, we can tune a little bit the edge to make it less visible. So we'll have not so big problem with it. Okay, we see again back the map there, and I like to have it more brighter. So let's see there what we can do, and maybe it's that's due to the map there, and we can use this one, and let's see. Okay, that's the opacity, and we don't need colors there, and we need more visibility. Let's see if the clouds are more visible now. Actually, nothing so much. Let's say that the clouds has also a little bit of self-illumination, let's say maybe 20%, and again render. Obviously now they are too much visible, so let's say that we have just maybe this map is used maybe something like that. It is still too much, so let's go for 5, and then we have to tune there the edge. Okay, let's stay with this setup for the moment. Let's play a little bit with the edge, and we can remove the displacement to be faster. Let's save. Okay, and there let's play with the fall off, so we'll have less visibility for this map on the edge and more on the bigger area there, on the internal area. Okay, let's do another test render. Okay, this is not bad. We see nothing so much there, and we have the planet there, so that's a really interesting look. Let's close, and let's have a really simple background to have some stars. So we can create another sphere, a bigger sphere, really big. Let's think about something like that. Okay, this one will have let's say stars. Okay, and say this material is two-sided, and that's black, and it has just a noise. That's a fractal one, or maybe we can use this card, the cellular, and let's say that we have black, so just one white point, and let's go for an isolation and render, so we see just the back. There are too much stars. Let's try with 0.2 for the 0.02 for the spread, 0.01. Okay, so we have not so much stars. Let's have a little bit of variation, let's say maybe 50. Okay, and let's try to add a fractal adaptive, and let's say 2, maybe 1.5, maybe sorry, 1.5. Let's see if we see the stars in this way. Not in so much, but maybe we can have more stars just changing the spread. Okay, so you see that we have some light. Okay, I think that it can be enough, maybe just a little bit more stars. Okay, something like that. Perfect. Night and save. And this one must be something, so we have to think about it. Let's make a test render to see everything. So that's our stars and that's our planet. And let's close. And I like to have something strange there, but we can use maybe just one light with a ray. To create the ray, we can have a cylinder, really big, and let's think that this cylinder is centered there, and then it is rotated to this planet. And let's go in local. But I like to have this ray in another position, so let's say that maybe it is there and it is colliding there. Then it must be obviously really teeny, and we can say that this one it is the ray, and this one has a color like this one, and self-illumination. This one is not renderable for the moment. Later we can decide what we like to have there. So this is touching there, and maybe it can be sorry, and this one can be a little bit more little. So we are talking about really tiny things, but I made a mistake. Okay, there. So it is really teeny, and we can add more effects there. And the first thing is the opacity, and we'll use a noise, and the noise will be something maybe 500. So it should be more visible or less visible in some area. Let's check for I have to find the right scale. So okay, you see that now it seems less stable than before. So it seems that we have some area where we have more rays, some area where we have less rays. Okay, then other things I like to do is to change a little bit the position there, and then that's the point, maybe something like that, where we are hitting the planet. But to hit the planet, I like also to change the position there. sorry, both stays there. Okay, let's see again how it looks. Okay, so we have this ray entering in the camera and hitting there, and that will be a perfect. We can have maybe another planet there. It can be maybe the Earth, or something like the Earth, or something different, just to have more stuffs in the camera. But we can also decide to have just this one and move the camera to enter there and see how it looks. So let's save and let's add a camera movement. So let's think to have maybe 500 or maybe more. So for the moment let's do 600, and we need the camera to move there and arrive to the planet. So this one can be showed as a display as boxes, so we have nothing so strange thing. This one will have no target, and we use a free camera. So let's go there, let's scale a little bit, and let's say that we have just a free camera, and save. Okay, our final point is to go more near to the point where the stuffs are happening. So we like to go near the rays and check what is happening. Let's imagine something like that, and later we can decide if that's too much or not. So actually, you see, we are moving to go near where the stuffs are happening, and we see the planet dying. Let's change a little bit the curve for the movement there, linear, so the camera starts moving and then going near. Okay, do something like that. So for example, when we are there and save, that's what we see. We have to check obviously that our planet will be good enough during the rendering. There we'll have a lot of effects, so maybe it's not a problem if the texture are not enough for our rendering purpose. You have to imagine that there something really big is happening. So maybe we can add an Earth-like planet there, and we can use the one we used on the other tutorial, so we have not to restart everything from zero, but we can also create something like Earth really fast, or we can also think to have this ray starting from the Earth okay, and this one actually has no texture, let's make a test render. Okay, actually it's not renderable. Let's say that it's renderable. Okay, and we need a planet, and we can use something similar the first one, but we'll try to simulate in a really fast way the Earth. And to do this, we go there, and we don't need the color correction actually there. We have to check it later. Okay, let's remove some maps. This one can be used, this one can be removed, this one is removed, and this one too. And the first one is the Earth. So we have the Earth. This one is just the night, and that's good. We can have the clouds, but there we need 0 and 0. And let's see what we have now. I don't need to create a really realistic Earth planet. Okay, obviously the light in there is not illuminating the Earth, and we can have a problem in this way. So we can make a clone, and we can move it, for example, there, and saying that this one is the Earth. So this one is illuminating just the Earth. So inside the exclude, let's move there and use the include. Okay, you see that we are starting to see something. Let's try to have it there to have more illumination. Let's go in the material and let's start to having all the other layers. So we need the reflection there, and this one will be for sure blue. And let's see if it is coming better. You see that we start to have the blue stuffs there. Okay, we have the self-illumination, but I have to check the self-illumination, and the self-illumination must have something similar to the blue coloring. Okay. Okay, so you see now it's more visible. Let's go there in the reflection, and let's work a little bit on this one. Okay, and I like to have also there a little bit of bluish all over, so we can remove this one, remove this one, and remove this one too, and add a new layer, and I mean just an RGB tint. And this one will be black and black, and this one will be something like that, and it will be let's say an average, and let's say maybe 30%. Okay, it should help a little bit. And again, we were playing with the self-illumination map too, and the reflection, I mean, sorry. So there we have this map, and let's say 3, so maybe 2, and I like to have a composite. Keep all map, and the second map will be again a fall off, and again a Fresnel, and that's white, and let's go there. It is an addition, and let's see if it plays in the right way. Okay, I have to tune it, and this addition is masked by a fall off, and that's a shadow map. So we have it just in this area. Okay, I like to see more visible the clouds, so there, let's copy the clouds, and we can have a composite there too. Keep all map, a new layer, paste, copy, and we should have more visible clouds. Okay, and we need also a little bit, I have not the mask actually to do this, but we'll try to have it. So let's try to have an higher level of specularity, and we'll try to have the map controlled actually using this one. So copy, and let's have it on the specular level. Paste, but we have to change it obviously, and we need a color corrector. Keep all map, and we need to remove the saturation, and we need to have something like that. Okay, and we can invert. Okay, let's try to see what we have in this way. We should have, you see the map there, but let's try to have it more little, and the color will be controlled a little bit by this map. So copy and paste, and that's just a little bit. Let's try to have because we don't need I have to find a way. Let's remove the inverse color there. Okay, in this way we have a little bit of control. I know that it's not right because we have to speculate there and not on the sea, but it's just to have a little bit of control over the specularity. and I'd like to have a more bluish color, so we can play with the reflection there. And this color, let's have more saturated color. It's too much. And let's see also the color we have in the self-illumination. And then we can make some fixing also in the post-processing. And I like to have also darker area, so it will be maybe a good basic scene there, and we have to tune it later. And again, another thing I like to do is to have some value there, object ID 1, and this one will be object ID 2, because we'll need also the mask to make some post-processing effects later. Okay. So now we have just to render the scene to start preparing the composing project. And you see we can save the beauty paths, so the frames, using the TIFF file format. And please remember to set up with 16-bit color and the alpha channel, because later we have to add also the stars on the background. And then you can go there inside the render elements. You have to add the object ID, and you have to set where to save the ID. Okay, when you render all the frames, I rendered just 600 frames, and obviously this time we are doing just a preview of a part of the scene. We have to work on the effects, we have to work on the final comp, and we have to work to tweak all the steps. Then you can go inside Combustion or another compositing software, and you can start working on the project. And let's say that we can use the Open from the File menu, and we have to go in the right folder. And obviously, I use the other monitor to find the directory, because there is not so much space there, so we have to use this way. So I just loaded the planet ID, and we have to use the color, and you see that's our layer, and we can set to off the layer because we don't need to see it. Then we can import another frame, another layer, and I mean we have to pick the beauty, and that's the beauty. And for the moment we can go to use the pre-multiplied alpha, and you see that that's our animation. Really simple. Okay, let's start working on the project, and we can make a little bit of color tuning. And for example, we can use the color corrector. Let's go for a little bit of brightness and contrast, and you see that we can have a little bit more contrast and a little bit more brightness. Okay, then let's go to have a color corrector, and with the color corrector we can change a little bit the shadows, for example, and we can move to something like that. And the midtones, let's go there, the highlight, okay, and a little bit of master, just a little bit Okay, perfect. Now we can continue to work on the other stuffs, and we can start to make a selection. And we make a selection, compound channel selection, and we use the green, because you see there we have green and red, and it will be the green, and we'll use the planet object ID layer. We use a little bit of feeder in the selection, let's say something like that, maybe, and let's use a little bit less expand. Okay, now we can add a glow, so let's go for stylites glow, and you see that we have the glow there. And we can have more power or less power. Obviously, if you have a better plugin as the Sapphire, use it, because you can have more possibility to have a better look. So then let's invert the selection. So selection, invert selection, and then we can add, I'll work with a lens flare moved there, just to have, let's go with stylites lens flare, and we move one point there, and the other one can stay there, but I like just to have the center of flare, and we'll have not so much power, and we'll have the 50. So you see that we are touching there a little bit the look there. Okay, let's remove the selection. So selection and remove selection, and now we can make another selection trying to select the other planet. So selection, compound channel, let's say the red this time, and same layer as before, so the object planet ID, and we use just an expansion. Okay, let's try to use the glow again. So stylites glow, and you see that we are able to add a little bit of glow there, maybe just there. Obviously, again, if you have another tool as the Sapphire, use it, because you can have more detail. Okay, let's remove the selection. So selection, remove selection, and we can use again the stylites lens flare, because I like to have a little bit of light there where we are using the ray is intersecting the planet, and we'll have the effects. Center of flare, and it will be little, so let's have it there, and it will be maybe at 35 with more power, something like that, and there we'll have the depth effects. Okay, now I like to it is possible to simulate also the sun, and to simulate also the sun you need again the stylites lens flare, and we can imagine to have the flare there, but we are not seeing the flare because we have actually the alpha. So later, for the moment we pause in this way, okay, and later we see how to use it. So let's set off this one, and let's go to this one, let's say something like that. Okay, and let's say that the color is something like blue. Okay, so then again we have the glow, we have the flare there. Okay, and then the flare there, we have to simulate the sun. Obviously, again, if you have a better flare simulator, please use it. Let's see what we have there. The quality is not so much, maybe we can go for the 35 and something like that. Okay, so you see we have the basic look for our scene. Obviously with more plugins you can have a better look, but we can start working on this one. Let's save it. I can save it later. So obviously we have to track and move the steps, because you see we have the lighting there and the lighting there and there. If you like to do something really fast, you see we can do it manually. It's not so precise, but obviously it is okay for the moment. Okay, so we just simulated this one, for example. Let's go for this one, and let's animate this one too. We'll try to do it really simple. Okay, it should be enough actually. Okay, and let's work on this one. This one we have just to simulate a little bit the movement. Let's imagine something like that, because obviously we are, let's go in the timeline, and there let's imagine that we stay there, because obviously the sun will move differently depending on the scale. And let's imagine that now let's see, okay, we have to remove one key. This one must be removed. Okay, and then the sun is going inside. Okay, so until there, and then let's say there is setting to off, and there it is off. Obviously it is not precise, and later we'll find another way to have it more precise, because there we need to remove the sun. You see, I have to fix frame by frame. Okay, it should work. Okay, so that's our scene. You see, it is not bad to be just a preview, and you see that now we have there the planet, and there we can do all the effects of destruction and death about this planet. So I think that for the moment that's all, and we can continue on the next part, this new tutorial. And so I hope to see you back on Max Cookie to check for new tutorial coming from cgcookie.com. Bye.